Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Firstly, thanks to all of you for tolerating my voice in these last few days. I know it's not easy to listen to a voice which is a bit husky, but I'm pleased to tell you that I'm on the mend, and now it's basically just a heavy cold. So by tomorrow, my voice should be back to normal. Thank you for that, for your support, and thanks again to all of you for your kind words. Secondly, this podcast is now reaching 1,000 individuals on italki. We reached the 1,000 mark yesterday morning, and now we're above that. We're up to 1,001 and 1,002 subscribers. So I'm really grateful to all of you who are making this podcast a success and part of your life. And I'm very, very grateful for allowing me to step inside your world and your country for a few minutes every day. So thank you. And I really hope that this podcast continues to encourage you and motivate you in learning English. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about AI, artificial intelligence. Now, it seems that everyone's jumping on the bandwagon with AI, and whether we like it or not, it's about to change our lives and our world forever. When the Industrial Revolution came in the 19th century, they could sense things were about to change forever. They wrote stories and poems about it. If you've ever read anything by Lucy Larcom, she was an American living at that time. Her books and poetry are all about change, how she could see her communities change, her world changing, and that's how I'm kind of feeling. You know, italki has just launched an AI summary that you can get after your class. That's worth looking into. It's currently only available in Japan, but will be rolled out at some point to the entire world. So basically, before the lesson, there's a button you click, and at the end of the lesson, you're given an AI summary about new vocabulary, new things that you've learned. So you can see this is the beginning of something radical in the way that you'll be summarizing your lesson. So amazing how quickly these things are coming and going. Only available in Japan right now, but that'll be coming soon. We use the phrase jumping on the bandwagon when people begin to adopt something new that's passing by, okay? So, for example, all companies here are jumping on the bandwagon. And in fact, Paul McCartney from the Beatles has said that he's used AI, artificial intelligence, to create a new Beatles song with John Lennon. So John Lennon's voice is going to be used on a new song, which it looks like he didn't actually record. All very interesting. So that's coming your way soon. No doubt you'll be hearing more about that in your local media. Yeah, and musicians are in the news today, really pleading with the government, saying, please change the law before we disappear forever. Well, I don't think natural music will be going anywhere, but it might improve our tastes. So that's another way in which AI will help us. You know, last night I didn't sleep well because I was coughing because of my voice. And as always, I decided to watch some TV. So on my tablet, I was watching the TV series from the 1960s, which is called Bewitched. Now, I don't know if you've seen Bewitched. I think they made a movie about it in the 1990s. Was that Nicole Kidman, maybe? I don't remember. But the TV series is definitely far superior. And basically, the story is all about the Stevens family. Darren Stevens is an advertising executive, and his wife, Samantha, is a housewife. But the thing is, Samantha Stevens has supernatural powers, and she comes from a family of witches. And Darren, he's one of these traditional American men who thinks that money should be earned by doing a day's work. And he doesn't allow Samantha to use her powers at home. But Samantha's parents, particularly the mother, really doesn't like him. So she's the mother-in-law. And the storyline in Bewitched is always how they're laughing at Darren. They're saying, look, Darren, you know you could live in a magical world. You know, go to Paris for lunch, India for tea, and be back here within an hour. And you can forget about work. We can create anything for you that you want. And Darren is resisting. And he's saying, no, work is something a man has to do. And I insist on it. And so he's resisting all of these calls to give up work and become better than he is in a magical world where work isn't required. And the more I watch it, the more I see the metaphor there for AI. It's very funny. Bewitched is very funny. It's a comedy and they're always forgetting his name, you know? So the mother-in-law will drop in and she will say, Derwood, how are you today? And immediately that will rattle Darren's nerves and they will start fighting. And then she will turn him into an animal to punish him, to show him how stupid he's being. And he in return will accuse her of witchcraft when she hasn't used it. And yeah, it's how magical living can be. Or if you put it into the context of AI, it's a really good illustration of how we're being asked to surrender more to some kind of intelligence, which in our case perhaps isn't yet perfected. But Bewitched is a wonderful, really a wonderful metaphor for AI coming. And I'm wondering, when they made this series in the 60s, what they were thinking. I think they were coming out of a very conservative generation and they were entering the social revolution, which we had here in the UK in the 60s. And in the US, they called it the Beat Generation. The thinkers were coming, the world was changing, children wanted more of an individuality, and there's a lot of metaphors, I think, in Bewitched about that, which could be applied to anything which we're asked to embrace. But maybe we find it difficult to do that. It was very interesting. I know that over the years, many people have said Bewitched, this TV show, is a metaphor of how our minds are opening to new things. But it's such an old TV show, it's hard to see how it's relevant, but certainly it gives the idea of relying on something else and just relaxing. That doesn't come easy to any of us, I think. Actually, speaking of Bewitched, it had a replacement actor about halfway through the series. The first Darren was by an actor called Dick York, and then the second one was an actor called Dick Sargent. And we use that as a metaphor. It's an idiom in the UK. If you're going through a difficult time, you can joke about it and you can say, well, if I'm okay with two Darrens in Bewitched, then I can cope with anything. Or you can say, if I manage to accept two Darrens in Bewitched, then I can cope with this. So as a joke, you can use it. It's interesting because it comes from a particular generation. I think younger people probably wouldn't know Bewitched, although it's fun watching. It's this kind of general mind-numbing comedy, but the metaphors are definitely there about how we choose to live. It's very interesting. And that's Bewitched. And that's it for me. So, two idioms there. The first one, jumping on the bandwagon when you take advantage of something that's passing before you. And the other one about the two Darrens in Bewitched. If I can cope with the two Darrens in Bewitched, I can cope with anyone. The second one, of course, being rather amusing. So that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's talk again soon. And thank you once again for your subscriptions. I'm very happy and honored to be with you today. See you all soon. Bye.